Look at me remembering to start the Zoom recording today. That is a first. Oh my gosh. Wow. It has been like nonstop this morning. On a roll. On a roll. A rolling stone gathers no moss. I just remembered that. I want to go over our CEO protocol today. There's a Courtenay.
Hello. Mhm.
Oh, it says, oh, I think we have a team member in the waiting room. We'll have to make sure they join the Zoom link because I can't tell who it is that it's showing is trying to join the Teams link that we originally had. Um,
Oh,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
mhm. I'll send a message.
Okay. Um, how are you ladies doing this morning?
So good.
I knew she was gonna say that. Started using that.
You know what? I remember like I've just always kind of said that, and I remember someone saying to me several years ago, they like commented on how like that was always my response. And what did now I'm gonna forget what she said. Um, but just something anyway. She was like, I'm
I
just so
remember you
impressed
saying
by
that
your
the first
response.
time, and I remember
Yeah.
how it's like I've
Oh
never heard
yeah.
anyone say that. I was like, that sounds
Well,
so genuine.
yeah, and anyways, when this gal told me this, I just kind of like made me be aware that that's my response, and I'm like, well, I even if like I don't, if it is like a slightly crappier morning or whatever, I'm like that. If I can like even project happiness and goodness, that hopefully that can wear off on whomever I'm,
Oh yeah.
you know.
Well, I saw a reel last night. I meant to share this with y'all. I may have, but I don't remember. But um, and it was this old guy. I think he goes by Uncle Pappy on Instapage.
Uncle
And
Pappy.
he looks like he's like, yeah, he looks like well, it says Unc Pappy on Instagram for his handle, but he gets on there and he didn't have no shirt on. He looked like he was in the Louisiana Bayou. And he was like, I don't care what happens today. I'm just going to wake up and have a good day. He was like, it don't matter. He's like, if somebody cuts me off, they must be on a mission. He said, if somebody um, in the grocery store is rude to me, I just don't understand why people go on about life like that. And he was so country, like, it puts me to shame. And I was like, man, I truly believe there are people that wake up and they do have that mentality and they live their life out like that, like every single day. And I want to be like that person. Like, I would rather have this, like, because it's like either way is going to serve you, but it may not be to your like ideal. But you can wake up every day and choose to believe that, or you can wake up every day and choose to think that like you're just at the whim of whatever the circumstances are. And either way, that stuff is going to happen. And I would rather live with like this extreme optimism than average pessimism,
Mm-hmm.
like every day. So
100%.
yeah, so just thinking about that and I know we're going to be talking about, I want to go over the CEO protocol today and just like high level overview of what does that look like. Um, because everybody like, our goal, we have various goals for people and I've been listening to a lot of the trainings and the sales girls and the thing I was listening to this morning was really talking about like, um, and I would be interested to ask you all what you all think. But it's like if we had like one thing that's like this is what we do. There's a lot of things that we do, but if I think about one thing that we do, I know the thing that was really important to me, and I think Allie asked me this last week when she was putting some stuff together. Um, is why did I start my business? And I think I've had a lot of different iterations of this over the course of time. But when I really got down to like just boiling it down to the most simplistic way possible, like I truly just wanted people to not make money the excuse that they wouldn't believe in themselves. to pursue their goals. And I
Mhm.
think back to Val remembers, I don't know if I ever told you this story, Val, but like Amanda is a person that I think about probably on a daily basis, that we worked with, because I remember something that she said to me and it just like broke my heart, because I'm like, we work at a bank and you don't understand money. And I'm like, I don't understand how you can't understand. And the thing is that one of the things I have truly come to learn is that people understand numbers and money. They know like what numbers mean. They know what is more than, they know that 10 is more than 1. They know when they get money deposited into their bank account, it's going to go up. They understand the movement of it. They don't understand the story of it. And so fun. I just got off of a call with somebody, and this is why I've had so many conversations this week where we were able to go back and take their KPIs and objectively make plans for their business that is without a shadow of a doubt going to move the needle. But I just talked to somebody and we were looking at, they started in their med spa, they started a pre-book tracker for KPIs. And so every person, every team member is on here, including the owner. And every day this tracker gets updated and it's looking at how many appointments did we have and how many bookings did we have that day from those appointments. So it's their pre-book tracker. And it's been really interesting to see it because they've only had this implemented, I think, for this month so far. And it was so eye-opening already, the progress that you could see from it, because it's that story, right? And so one of the team members was looking at it and she was like, why is my pre-book rate so much lower than everybody else's? Which I thought was really fascinating. And it's like, and it's so good though, because data don't lie. And so it just comes back into, this is why we have it, because when you are operating your business and you want to lead people, but it's like, I think that like, I think should never be words that come out of your mouth as a business owner when you have the data readily available to you and you're not using it. And so it was really interesting that we're already starting to see that this is being drilled. Like, we can start to see the story that these numbers are telling us. And so people understand money because they understand, like, okay, we would be generating more revenues in our business if we had a higher pre-booking rate. If we booked more of our clients for their next treatment before they left this one, we're going to be able to have more consistent revenues that we can rely on. And when you can rely on the revenues that you're going to generate, that absolutely changes the way that you show up, as whether it's a team member in your business or it is the owner of the business. Like, you're going to show up with certainty because it's like, okay, we know we have these clients to take care of, that we get to look forward to them coming back in here in 30 days. And like, just imagine the certainty that you have, all because you started tracking these numbers. And I think that's the really fun thing about it. And it's a coaching tool. I mean, like, our CEO dashboard that we use, I look at that as like a belief tool. I look at it as a leadership tool. It's a process development tool. I mean, it's everything. And it's just one simple sheet that we use every month and every week for some people. It just depends on where you at in your business. I don't encourage. So I know that Val and Courtney, like, you all have seen that CEO dashboard. I have a couple of iterations for it. We have a monthly one, and that's the one that we're going to be implementing with our clients in the Build Intensive that we're going to be launching. And I'm so excited for that because most people don't even have that. They don't even have like their financials that they're looking at on a monthly basis. And we really want to incite this accountability, but we have a monthly KPI dashboard or CEO dashboard, and we have a weekly one. And the point of the weekly one is really the same as the monthly one, but it just allows you to act faster and be more proactive. And the fun thing about it too is that once you start to accumulate at least like say 3 months worth of data, and you're tracking these same KPIs, which is what I encourage people to do, is like, you got to just trust the process and commit to doing the same thing consistently so you can truly see what's working. And you get 3 months worth of data, for instance, on when you're doing this weekly KPI tracking on your dashboard, and you start seeing where the problems in your profitability are, or you start seeing like, why are my revenues capped at this limit? And it's so easy to be able to see that when you commit to knowing, and just understand that just because I don't know right now doesn't mean that I can't learn. And that's why, like, one of the things that we really want to encourage people is to not allow them to use language where they say, I don't know. Because what happens in your brain when you tell yourself, and like, it doesn't matter what it is, if it's business, if it's cooking, if it's relationships, if it is fitness, that's a huge one. Like, I don't know what to do at the gym. When you allow yourself to have that mindset, then you are immediately going to, your brain is going to stop trying to find a solution to that, because it says like, okay, I like, I've done my work, because your brain wants to stay in its familiar discomfort. People call it your comfort zone, but that is not what it is. It is your familiar discomfort. And so you stay in this familiar discomfort because you're always like, I don't know. And so when you tell yourself that, you do not seek the answer. Like, your brain is not going to look for those things. And so I'm sure so many people have heard of the reticular activating system. If you have followed anybody in entrepreneurship any amount of time, like, this is not a new concept, but it is a great concept, and it is something, and it's not even a concept. It's just like, it is reality. Like, we have a reticular activating system. And if you are constantly telling yourself that I don't know, or I can't figure this out, or whatever the case may be, like, you're not going to see the answer because you keep telling yourself that. And it is that simple. And so, I mean, like, one of the things that, and so it just comes back to mind, like, to people that say, like, I don't understand money, those are the people that continue to struggle in their businesses, because what you say ends up turning into your actions. And so when you say you don't understand money, or you don't understand KPIs, or you don't understand numbers, then your actions keep you in that struggle. Where instead, like, shifting it to, it's like, I may not know, but I'm going to figure this out. Like, I'm just going to figure it out kind of mentality. Then you start looking for, okay, this person sounds like they know a little bit about what I need help with. Maybe I can talk to them and they can give me some insight. Or here's this software over here that looks like this is going to be the answer to the workflow problems that we're having. Like, whatever the case may be, you would never see those things though if you keep telling yourself, like, I don't know how to fix this, or I don't know. And I hate that. And anytime somebody says stuff like that in a meeting, I like will stop whatever they're saying mid-sentence anymore, because it's that important. Like, you have to, and I would encourage everybody to do that. Like, every one of us here work with clients, we work with other people, we're raising kids, we are married to somebody that we really care about, and we don't want them using self-deprecating words. And a lot of that for me comes back into, this is why we created the CEO protocol. And this is why we create the structures that we do. This is why we are so passionate about what we do, and about numbers and financials, and really getting to know your business on the financial level, and understanding what the story it is that it's telling you. Because the thing is that it anchors you into the belief, and it anchors you into where you want to go. So, part of, like, so for instance, one of the daily protocols is updating your break-even calculator. And so many people struggle to do this at first because they're like, I don't get this, or I don't think this is right, or whatever the case may be. Like, stop questioning it and just do it. You're going to figure it out after you commit to it. But the confidence doesn't come until you commit and take action. People are waiting to have confidence and clarity, and then they'll take action, and they never actually have confidence or clarity because they don't take action, because they're doing it the wrong way. The equation is flipped around. So, I think that processes, we're so big on processes, and they sound boring, but the thing is that I'm really big in anchoring people into the future that they want, whether that's their business or personally. And that's why processes are there. The CEO protocol is there. Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, things that you do as a CEO of your business to anchor yourself into achieving the results that you want, even if you don't truly understand it right now.
I was just thinking about, as you're talking about, people are with the break-even calculator as the example of, oh, I don't understand it, so I'm not going to start to use it. You have to think about, we got to come into this with the same mentality with any type of habit that we're trying to build. Like so take for example, right now, my girls, they're all still pretty young. My oldest is 6 and my twins are 4. And, we've taught them how to brush their teeth, but they're not, that we have some room for improvement as far as strategy goes, right? But we're not looking for them to be,
Never thought about strategy when it came to brushing teeth before, but I could see where maybe there's some ineffectiveness as a child.
well, right. One of my girls, she, we're getting better, but it started with, they would just put it in their toothbrush in their mouth and they just want to eat the toothpaste, and then it moves to chewing on the toothbrush. And then, so we're taking steps towards, okay, now we're brushing. Now let's make sure we're getting, not just the front side of our teeth, but the inside, the back of our teeth, right? And it wasn't like, oh, they need to come in and be brushing their teeth the second they have teeth in their mouth and they need to be amazing at it. It's no, we're establishing the habit of doing it daily. And as they do it every single day, every morning, every night, we're getting a little bit better and a little bit better. And it's going to be the same way, with anything in life, anything in business, but in particular with this break-even calculator or your CEO dashboard or these different things we're talking about, you're going to tweak and refine as time goes on. And you're going to start to, oh, that's what that means. That's how I put this in. But you're not going to have those aha moments until you start to use it. You need to start the process now. You need to, and that's how you learn to tweak and adjust and get better. So I just was thinking about that. It's a good
Action
reminder.
brings clarity.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, and take action to begin.
Yeah, it made me think of the thing you were mentioning the other day, like stacking habits. And the thing is like so many people want to start a new habit, but they just try to like add all this stuff in. And the thing is that they get overwhelmed because it's like, I don't have time to do all these things, but you can't just stop. You can't just start something and you can't just stop something. Like if you want to stop a bad habit, you need to replace it with a good one.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I'm just going to do this, like being intentional about, okay, instead of checking social media first thing every morning, I'm going to check my bank account every morning. And then later on, I'll check social media. And then you're going to get to a point where it's like, I'm only going to get on social media when I'm checking my KPIs, for instance. But it's just like your kids. I mean, you get them to start brushing their teeth. You don't know what they need to work on until you start witnessing, like, what are they doing initially? Like, some kids might start out and they saw their parents like brushing their teeth and they intuitively take to, oh, I need to scrub all around my mouth. Whereas some just don't take to that and they're like, well, if I just look like I have it in here, then I'll pass or whatever. But you don't know that until they take the action on it and they start doing it. And it's the same thing in your business. And I remember on the last coffee chat we were on, we were talking about that break even calculator and we broke down the daily revenue target into like a whole story in how to lead your team based off of understanding we need to hit this revenue every day and broke that down into a more granular level of being able to ultimately take action at the end of the day. And that's what the CEO protocol is about, getting intimate with your money and truly understanding it so that you can make data-driven decisions, not emotionally driven decisions in your business. And I love, we work with so many women business owners, and I think that a lot of women are just like by default, like we are emotionally driven people. I don't know, like I feel like I've definitely built up calluses around that over the course of my life, but a lot of people aren't like that or even cognizant of how much their emotions are driving their actions versus letting objective information drive their actions. And so I want them to get intimate with their numbers so that if you have to have a hard conversation or you have to make a hard decision in your business, it no longer is dependent on how you feel or think about a situation. It is what it is. It is black and white. Like you want to get out of that gray area as much as possible. And the thing is that I say this and I feel like I will never not say this, but if you have you don't know that you don't even have good data until you start tracking it. And we are so much sticklers on what we do with data, and we're always looking for ways to like refine what we're doing and just to get more accurate and more precise in what we're doing. But there's a lot of people that like are so far in left field when it comes to their financials or when it comes to their data or how they're interpreting things, that they think it's good data and they're still not making progress with their business or in their personal financials, and they can't understand why. Is because you can never make a good decision with bad data in the first place. And what I love about the way that we design KPIs to be in synchronicity with one another, and so we will measure KPIs across departments that align with our core initiatives, it aligns with the vision for the company, it aligns with the goals, is that it forces you to refine your processes, which is going to refine the accuracy of your data. And it forces you to lead your team with more certainty and with more objectivity, which makes your data more accurate and precise. Because when we're setting targets, especially if you've never went through the activity of finding like numerical targets for things in your business, the thing also I will say is like some people act like some things cannot be quantified. And I argue that everything can be quantified. You know, if you want to improve your marriage and you're like, yeah, but you can't quantify that. I bet you if you're not going on dates, but all of a sudden we're going to make sure we go on 2 dates a month. And you were tracking that like legit, like I have a calendar behind me and I put on here like the days and weeks that like Clifton and I are going to go out on a weekend, or if we're going to have a date night or something. Like I track it on that calendar because that's more important than anything else outside of my spiritual health. But I can tell you that if I wasn't cognizant of it and then we just put it on the back burner, there are things that come up all the time that we can make excuses for why we're not going to do that. And our marriage would suffer as a result of it. But for somebody, especially that like that is something that's really important to them and they want to improve their marriage, start tracking how many date nights you actually go on. And I bet you your marriage will improve because you're more aware of how much time you actually spend intentionally with one another, not working on the house, cleaning the house, raising the kids, cooking dinner, talking about business or work, and it's just dates. 100% it's going to improve. If you want your spiritual health to improve, but you think you can't quantify it, how many times are you getting down and praying every day versus not doing it now? Like holding yourself accountable by like 6 days out of 7 this week. I got down on my knees and prayed first thing when I got up, and I have so much more peace and start realizing like and being aware of yourself as you track that and maintain that consistency. Without a shadow of a doubt, your spiritual life is going to improve if that's something that's important to you. And you can quantify anything. So people will give that excuse in their business, like you can't quantify client relationships. Like, yes, you absolutely can. You just have to be committed to doing so. And so the way that we track KPIs is that we are so intentional about this. And this is something that I'm always personally working on refining myself, is like, how can I make this more cohesive? How can I make this system more cohesive? And looking at when we're tracking evergreen revenues versus marketing revenues versus sales revenues versus operational revenues versus HR stats, how are we making sure all of this stuff is in sync? Because that's going to tell us our story. That's going to tell us how well we're communicating. That's going to tell us how well we're following processes. That's going to tell us the effectiveness of our team. And part of tracking those KPIs sounds so boring until you do it consistently and you start realizing like this is the easiest way to build my business, and I cannot believe I didn't do this sooner. Like it is so easy where you need to, like in what areas and what ways you need to take action in your business. Like I shared with you all yesterday, like a plan we put together with somebody, and we purely did it off of one KPI that was the big domino effect. And did I share with you all, like looking at, I think I shared it with Courtney and Michelle, but it's like, if we know, like say we're working with a client, one of the things, we know what our profit target is with our clients. We want to help them achieve at least 30% net operating profit in their business. And so when we go and we know that we have accurate financials to review with them, and say they're hitting 10% net operating profit, and we know we want to help them hit 20% on the way up to 30%. Like our big shift is going to be that 20%. Where's our biggest variance in our other ratios? Like where's the one big domino that if we fix this one thing, it's going to change everything for the better? And so like you're looking at that through tracking these KPIs. And so we did this with a client yesterday. It's like we know that there's this KPI that we have set a target, they are routinely exceeding it, and that's not a good thing. But because we know that if we fix this and we minimize this to where we are under our threshold is what is reasonably acceptable for this KPI, we know that everything around it is going to improve. Our client relationships are going to improve because of this. Our sales are going to improve because of this. The actual amount of revenues that we can complete in a given period of time is going to improve because of this. And our team are going to be better leaders of their roles as a result of focusing on this one KPI, because it was the big domino. And so that's what you want to be able to identify. Like, to me, that's what I would want to be able to identify in my business, because there's so much stuff going on all the time. Like, you cannot focus on more than one thing at a time. It is impossible. People think that they can, but you cannot. One thing. And so you focus. So going through this CEO protocol, it's like you do these things every day without a shadow of a doubt. Weekly, you're looking at KPIs, but you're ultimately focusing on like, what is the one that we need to focus on right now? You look at the core ones. And then you have monthly, quarterly, and annual. So I have this list pulled up here, and I'm just gonna like kind of go down through here on a high level. Now, if I'm looking at like a med spa, for instance, this would be the CEO protocol for them. And so, you're going to have, as part of your CEO protocol, like these are things that as a CEO of your business, you're going to do these things no matter if you're making 250 grand in revenue or 2.5 million in revenue. Like, you need to do these things. Now, where you do it, how you do it might look a little bit different, but you're going to check this stuff every day. Like, one of my favorite things that Grant Cardone ever shared was that he looks at his cash position every day and he's figuring out, okay, I have all this cash, what am I going to do with it? Because cash sitting stagnant somewhere is losing value every second it's not being used. Like, and we know, especially with inflation, the way that it's going, that it's worth less now than it was 3 years ago at the rate it's going. And so he looks at his cash position every single day across all of his accounts. Somebody gets him a report every single day. And so I know that if that man, and this is like, and I've heard so many business owners say this. I'm trying to think. I think Dan Martell is another one that talks about what he looks at in that book, Buy Back Your Time. There's some place in that book, and I can't remember exactly what his list was, but he lists out exactly what he looks at every week and every day when it comes to his financials. And his cash position is one of them. And so that's something I've done this for years. And it's just, it gives you awareness, because awareness shows you where to take action. And so you want to check on a daily basis. Every business owner should be checking their cash position, and you should be updating your break-even calculator. And if you want more insight on the break-even calculator, you can go back to the last coffee chat we did. We went really, or maybe it was 2 times ago, but we have a coffee chat. We went really deep on how to use that break-even calculator and how to update that. And if we're doing the financials for you, then we've made this literally so simple. And so you can contact our team to get the information that you need to update that, and you go in, but you update that every single day. And that helps you to understand your daily financial performance. How long is it going to take you to be profitable in your business that month? And if you are already profitable, how many days past your break even point are you? Because you want to hit that point as fast as possible. And then if you have a med spa, for instance, like, I know such a big thing for so many med spa owners is they get so behind on their charting. And I get it, because I have seen it, and it's so easy to get behind on it. But if you do 3 tasks in 30 minutes, you can do all 3 of these in 30 minutes every single day. You may not get finished with your charting, but at least you're like chipping away at it, and you will not be overwhelmed by that. And what I love about this is that what people don't realize is that when you don't have this stuff weighing on your brain in the background, when you were providing treatments to your clients or when you're leading your team, like, you know the answers to these questions, you have freed up your mental capacity to truly show up in the way that people need you, and in the way that is really the essence of who you are. And I know that that's like probably out there for some people when it comes to money and looking at numbers and things like that, but that's what it's about to me anyways. And And then to shift on, so it's like, okay, as a CEO, things that you want to do on a weekly basis. And so, again, you'll want to tailor this to your business. And the point of this framework is that this is not going to look exactly the same for everybody, but you know that as a CEO of your business, there are things that need your attention daily. There's things that need your attention on a weekly basis, but not necessarily daily, but not as long as a month. There's things that you need to do every single month, and then quarterly, and so on and so forth. And so on a weekly basis, I don't care who you are, what business you have, you need to be reviewing your KPIs and doing your CEO dashboard review every single week. And one of the cool things about this is that clients that we meet with every week, we have a few that we meet with every week, and we're going over their KPIs every week. And the progress, the consistency in their business, the ability to be able to take action faster instead of waiting until once a month or once a year for some people that don't take advantage of the accountability. They are making leaps and bounds of changes and differences and growth in their business. And in a lot of cases, they're ahead of what we forecasted their growth to be, which was already pretty aggressive. Because I like to be aggressive when I'm forecasting. I would rather aim high and miss than to shoot low and hit it. And so it's really fun to be able to see that. So we're looking at the CEO dashboard every week, and people that implement the CEO dashboard. So one of the things I do encourage, I don't care if you have to hire a VA and they work 5 hours a week or 2 hours a week, and all they do is update the CEO dashboard. It's 100% worth the investment. Bring on somebody onto your team, or hire a VA to update these KPIs. Like once you've designed your CEO dashboard, and there is set up to it, like it is a process. But once that CEO dashboard is set up, having one person that goes and gets this data and fills it out so that you can more objectively review it when it's completed is so worth it. And so you do not want to be the person that's going in there and updating your CEO dashboard. And a lot of people haven't seen this yet, but this CEO dashboard is just one pretty much Excel spreadsheet. You can put this into Google Drive as well. And I love this thing because if we're doing the weekly one, for example, we see our KPIs every week. We can see like what the total or the average of that is. And depending on what the target is, like if you want your average tickets up there, then it just really clearly shows you like, am I on track for the averages that we sought to have? We put targets in there so that we know what we're working toward, because so many times people want to track data, but they're tracking it against like nothing. And so you don't even know what you're working toward. And so we have a target in there. And then I also put a place in there where you can see what is your target completion for the month. So for instance, like any business is going to be tracking their revenues. Every week we track that. If we know we're 50% of the way through the month, but we're checking our target completion and we're 67% of the way there, like I want to know that. And conversely, if we're 50% of the way through the month and we've only hit 40% of our revenue goals for the month, what are we going to do about that? Now, it doesn't mean that if you're above that target that you start to slack off. You figure out, okay, how do we do this? Let's replicate it. And then are we still on track to be able to hit that, the overall target by the end of the month? And then if it's not what you want it to be, if you're not on track with the target completion that you need to be, what are you getting? Like, this is where you use data to drive action. How are you going to use that information to course correct in your business, to lead your team, to drive your actions? And this also gives you insight. Like, for example, something that just came to mind for me, like if you're on cash basis and you're tracking your revenues as you get paid, a really good way to hold your accounts receivable person, or the person that does your billing for you or your invoicing for you, to make sure like they are being held accountable, is that if there's like, for some reason, like we should be further along in our revenue target this month, but this is showing that we're not. If you could find out that they're not invoicing people properly, or they've missed something, or they've under invoiced people, for instance, and this stuff isn't going out. And so it's just an indicator to where you need to look to solve your cash flow problems, essentially. And the other thing on the CEO dashboard we're going to be building this out with our build intensive clients. I'm so excited for this because I just know like how eye opening this is going to be. It was so funny the other day. I sent a loom. I may have, no, I didn't share it with you all. I sent a loom to one of our clients that we're building this out for them right now for third quarter. And she was like, I just love watching your video because you were so excited the whole time. And I feel like such a nerd, but it's so cool when you can start to see like you can see how their business is going to grow from this. And so one of the other things that we put on there is like there's a little drop down where you will update like, is this on track? And they're color coded. So it's really easy to see like if this is good to go, we're probably not going to focus on it a whole lot. If we have stuff that is in the yellow or if it's in the red, that needs our immediate attention, and it's color coded. So it's really obvious to be able to see. We put on there who is accountable for this metric. And then we put on there, where do we get this information from? To just validate the data source in the first place, because that helps us to make sure, is it right? It helps us to, as far as processes are concerned, this is so important. And what I love about just why this is another great tool for course correcting in your business is that if you're getting data from somewhere, and we could have it on there where the metric source is from, but if you have data on there and you're like, this data is not right, and you know that, that is a process issue. If the process is good, it's a people issue. And the data shows that. So it's like if we don't have consistently accurate data, or it's inconsistent, maybe you have accurate data some weeks, but then you really dig into it, like, why is this so much higher for this week compared to the other weeks? And it's not that it really was, it's that the system wasn't consistently used, the technology, the application, whatever it was. Then this dashboard tells you that. But you got to track that information consistently to even be able to see that anyways. And so this is something that when it comes to your weekly CEO protocol, you want to like time blocking you all. Once I started doing that, you unpaused or unmuted, Courtney. What were you gonna say?
Yeah. I was gonna wait for a lull, but
There's no lulls when I'm talking. If you don't just like jump in there, you're not gonna get
it. So what just came to mind, just to kind of reiterate what you were saying, but in different words, I was just reminded of some advice that my husband got a couple years ago, and what this gentleman had told him was information precedes inspiration. And so if in your business or in life, but we're talking about business, so if in your business okay, I want my revenue to grow, or I want to increase client retention, or I want to decrease, refunds, discounts, recalls, whatever it is, right? And you're like, but I just don't know what to do. Well, information precedes inspiration, right? And these are the tools, some tools, right? There's lots of things out there, but these are some tools that give you that information to help you make those informed decisions, so that you can have those light bulb moments of, yes, this is what I need to do to achieve this goal, or to fix this problem that I notice, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes me note. You said like there's lots of tools out there. I don't think there's anything better than what we have. I truly don't. You can't tell me that there is a live dashboard technology out there that is going to give you the same level of intentionality in your business as what we use. You're just not.
We've tailored it.
And that's what is so, I think that's one of the things, like we've tried this. And so like, we know we had a platform, we actually just got rid of it, that we're not using anymore, because the thing is that it wasn't changing results for people, because they were so used to getting this information, but not asking questions, because they did not have any actionable connection to the data. They didn't know what it meant. And this is one of those things, like when you have a business where you truly care about relationships with people, and I know that we do, and the clients that we work with, like when you look at their core values, the ones that like we mesh the best with, like they have something about it in there about relationships or people, and they truly live out that core value. And this is one of those areas where we've intentionally developed this intentional inefficiency in our business. And there are ways, like absolutely, we could have QuickBooks connected to a third-party resource that will put all these KPIs into one piece of information from you, and you can pull different ones at all these different times. But the thing is that cuts into your intention, and where you lack intention, you lack profitability. And that's why I like to have this maintain a manual process in the business, because when it forces you to, we're only going to look at these KPIs for 3 months. When we do our quarterly planning, we may revise some of the weekly KPIs that we're measuring, but we're going to measure these consistently for 3 months, and we're going to get really intimate with this data so that we get really intimate with our business, because the profitability is in the details. Like, there, what's so funny is that, and I'm sure you all have seen this, anybody in business for like 2-3 years or more, surely you've seen this. People will invest in things, whether that is clients that buy a product or service from you, or you witness this in other people. A lot of humans, like the masses out there, they think that one thing is going to solve all of their problems. And they invest in this coaching course, or they start paying this service provider, or whatever the case may be. And they expect that that person is going to be the answer to their problems. But that's not ever the case. It is a multitude of things that have to come together to ultimately give you the life and the business, the career, whatever it is that you want. And nothing that you invest in is going to do the work that only you can do. It will shortcut the time that you have to invest in doing that work by making it clear what you need to do, which is what we do with the way that we do things. But nothing is going to be that. You cannot just hire a CPA to do your taxes and then do nothing else, not be proactive yourself, not show up for meetings, and expect that you're going to pay $0 in taxes, because you don't know what you need to do to get $0 in taxes. Like, you just cannot expect that.
It reminds me of, you were just sharing how there was a client that you were going through prior year taxes and found that they could have saved, what was it?
Oh gosh,
Excess of $35,000. And there's nothing we can do now, because the steps that needed to be taken to make those savings are not things we can do retroactively. And that was a big example, but it's why you need to have that proactive effort. Mm-hmm.
But, and one of the things that I hear a lot of people say is, like, they'll come to us, and in a lot of cases this is true, and this is why, like, we are not an accounting firm or a tax firm. We provide those services as part of overall business design. But a lot of people go to accountants, they go to CPAs, they go to enrolled agents, they go to a tax accountant, and they want them to do their taxes, but that person never said that they did tax planning, which is not the same as doing taxes. They're like two separate things. They just have the same word, tax, but they're not the same thing. And so you can't get mad at somebody for not doing something that they didn't offer to do for you in the first place. But if somebody says they're going to do tax planning with you, and they offer you to meet with them 4 times a year, and you put them off every time they try to meet with you, or every time they try to talk to you about something, if you get them stuff 2-3 months later than what they actually needed to be able to provide you results, that is not their fault. And that happens so much. Like, that happens in everything, not just in what we do. But I mean, like, if you do door installation, people are still, like, conceptually, they're still this way. They're like, yeah, I need this door to be installed on my property ASAP because we're running into compliance issues. If those people don't sign the contract, if those people don't get you the access to the building, you can't do your job. And they are not there. They are there to do what they specifically said they can do. But if you don't give them the opportunity to be able to do that in the first place, they can't do the job. And then it's not their fault you didn't get results, it's yours. So you got to make access with your time. And that is just going back into the CEO dashboard, for instance, is that we want you to have a relationship with this tool, because otherwise you will lack the intentionality, and lacking the intentionality will not get you results. You can track, there's literally, like, there are hundreds of KPIs for any business that you can measure, but they don't all matter. And so you just measure what matters for that period of time, because your business is not going to necessarily, and this is why, like, one of the things that I will do when we're doing quarterly planning with some of our clients is that we'll tweak maybe some of the KPIs that we're measuring for that quarter. And the reason being is that that mattered up until that point, but now we've achieved that goal. So we need to track something different that is just going to be like maybe a small tweak to what that looked like. And we want to make sure that we're not waiting every 12 months before we make changes, active changes in our business. We've tracked this for 3 months. We've seen an improvement since we started this initiative. That initiative has been taken care of because that initiative focused on implementing X, Y, Z. And so we're going to pivot this a little bit. But you don't have that intentionality with softwares and things that people will create to do that. And because they don't have the intentionality, they don't take it as seriously. So you end up spending all this money on a platform and a software that you don't use anyways. So you're wasting money and wasting time, and you're not getting results in your business. And so, like, I will die on this mountain. This is like, I know that this tool works, and the people that let us just do it, like, they're so glad they're just like relinquished a little bit of control. That's the thing, is like, business owners, you all probably have heard this. There's like a meme that goes around. It's like, person that has to pay you $500. Well, I need to make sure this is going to change mine and my family's life, and blah, blah, blah. Person that pays you $50,000 wire sent. Like, it is so true. But the thing is, I get it, because when your business is not where you truly want it to be yet, you are so like white knuckling, like, so many things in there, and you got to let go of control. Like, I think Alex Ramosi said it in a way. He was like, the degree to which you can let go of control will be the degree to which you have freedom. And I think about that every single day. Every day. I'm like, what am I like white knuckling today that I actually don't need? And so you just gotta, if you're gonna hire somebody, let them do their stuff, and make sure you're holding them accountable, and you're letting them hold you accountable. That is such a big part of like what we do, is the accountability piece. Is like, so you know, if you bring us on, and part of what our engagement is to do your financials for you every month, and we are so solid on that, and we do that, part of building out that relationship with you is going over that every single month, which is your monthly cadence for your CEO protocol. You got to go over that stuff every single month. Like, we give you the information, but if you don't show up, we can't help you take action off of it. And so, just to kind of like touch on a few other weekly tasks. So this is really focusing on med spas, but some things that would apply to like any business owner is making sure that your bills get paid. Like, how are you verifying that every single week? If you're doing like weekly bill pay, even if you only have like one bill that you have to pay manually, you got to be under the assumption that my business is going to grow. That's the other thing, is that I think so many people take action. They're like, I want my business to be bigger. I want it to grow. I want to have more impact. I want to make more money. But they still do the stuff of a business that doesn't have any of those things and expect it to change. It doesn't change, and you figure out like, oh, I'll just start doing this once I get there. No, you got to do this to get there. So every week, your CEO cadence, CEO dashboard, paying my bills, making sure that like I'm not behind on anything, that my email inbox is cleared of my invoices, whatever that looks like. If you do payroll, making sure like you're doing that same time every week. And like, that's one of the things, like, I have somebody else that holds me accountable to that now, because I've messed that up myself. And so like having those structures in place, like, okay, Allie, I need you to make sure this time every other week I run payroll, and you're gonna hold me accountable to that. So I don't have to run into issues like last minute, because then I'll be like driving down the road and I gotta run payroll, and I'm on my phone looking at it, and I should not be driving and looking at my phone at the same time. And so this just brings me so much peace of mind. Like, we have this process in place now. One of the other things, like, I cannot stress this enough. We have 2 team meetings a week here, and some people should have that many a week. But most people have like one a month, or don't have any whatsoever, and they don't understand, like, oh, my team's not doing what I told them to do. They don't even know what you told them to do. You never meet with them. They don't know what they're supposed to be held accountable for. They just get a paycheck. That's nothing. Anybody can go anywhere and get a paycheck. So having a team meeting every week, and I just got off the phone with somebody, and she was like, I'm going to figure out how to do this every week, because she has a business where everybody's not there at the same time to do a team meeting at the same time every week and make sure people are there. And so she's implemented a system where even if they're not there, they will still get the recording of the meeting, and they have to provide feedback on that to make sure that they watched it. And so she has found a workaround for these team meetings, but she has a team member that works in her business full time. And she has seen how impactful it has been to have that person, like her right hand person, there with her full time every day of the week, and the things that they accomplish and get done as a result of that consistent communication. And so she's like, because she had a lot of resistance at first, like, well, we're never there, so we'll just have that one a month. And just like, okay, now she gets it, and she is bound and determined to make sure every single week, because more than that is too long. Like, if you want to move fast in your business, you cannot be waiting a month to do this. Like, just think about, like, if you're meeting with your team every week, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour, you're meeting with your team 52 weeks a year versus 12 times a year. Wouldn't you make exponentially more progress in your business? Like, 52 is greater than 10, like 5 times. You would make 5 times more progress in your business from that one thing, because more people understand what's going on. And if you have a team that's truly bought in, then they're going to want to help you achieve those goals faster, because you're going to help them see that when you collectively achieve your goals, everybody wins. And so I encourage so many people to do that. And then having some kind of, especially for med spas, and this is what I love about the systems that they have in place. And so I know people that they have somebody that does client outreach every week. They, whether it's email or it's text, they reach out to every client in their system, which sounds like a lot, but if you have the right systems in place, say you have a texting platform or whatever the case may be. Now, if that client has been in there that week, they won't reach out to that person, but everybody gets a touch at least one time a month, every client. And so they're doing that every week, because that really that really drills in, like, relationships are important to them. So they're reaching out to them. They're not just waiting for them to come in there. And this is something that we're working on refining this even ourselves, and trying to figure out how do we do this more effectively and not make it to where it's like robotic. And one of the things that we have implemented over the last couple of months is that when we close out financials every month, is that we have a client wins chat on our team, and then we'll also text our clients like, hey, we noticed you had this win when we were looking at your financials for the month. Courtney does that. So when y'all get those, it's from her. And then just to kind of go through the last parts of this, the CEO protocol on a monthly basis, reviewing your financials every single month, and your monthly CEO dashboard. And this is also a good time when, you may not be wanting to stuck in the weeds with social media. So making sure you have a social media plan done every month. Like, you can go ahead and forecast out your content for 30 days and make sure that you have somebody that, like a VA or somebody that is scheduling that ahead of time for you and tweaking it and refining it. But for the most part, like, you have got content for 30 days. And what this allows you to do is that it allows you to truly, like, that's just another area of your business. Like, you can truly step out of it when you implement that. Same thing with email. If you're doing a lot of these stuff daily, weekly, then it minimizes the amount of stuff you got to do every single month, at least on a monthly basis. And so this just really gives you your time back. And the thing, we call it a CEO protocol because the CEO's job is to be the visionary, to be the person that's going to focus on making sure that you're being seen and you're selling. And so we want you to be able to see what you need to do in your business to get out of your business so that you're not the bottleneck. You're going to make more money in your business as long as you're tracking these KPIs. And it truly allows you to be that person that's like, I'm making sure that we're selling and we're being seen. Because that is the most, what we do is so important. And selling is the most important thing ever, though. Because if you don't know how to sell, if people don't know who you are, if you're not making revenues, then you won't have a business. You won't have anything to track in the first place. So you need to make sure that your business is growing and you're selling. And then quarterly, like you all have heard me talk about core initiatives, you should do planning every quarter, like a 1 day full on, not in your office kind of thing, like somewhere else. doing your quarterly planning, updating your core initiatives. And core initiatives, when I think about core initiatives, these are something like, these are projects that you need to do in your business. It's not a one-step thing. It's like really to be the definition of done. This is going to take a few different phases to make sure that this is done. I'm going to put somebody else in charge of it. We're going to oversee it. In our team meetings every week, we're checking on, is this core initiative on track? Are we off track? What support do you need? And making sure that, because if you don't have these weekly team meetings and you have core initiatives for each quarter, but you're only meeting once a month, I would guarantee you that you will not get those core initiatives accomplished meeting once a month. And so this just makes sure that everybody is being held accountable. Every quarter, I recommend that business owners, whether it is them personally or to somebody on their team that is in a leadership role, having one-on-ones with every team member in that company every 3 months. I think 1 year is way too long to be able to assess somebody's progress. And there is so much. The thing is like you want to be able to grow with stability and grow quickly. If you wait 1 year, which is so average, you're going to be average. And so one of the things that I love about our team is that we have everybody complete personal, professional, financial goals. And I want to know, like, are they making progress toward those goals that they have set for themselves? Because ours are not the only ones that matter. I need to make sure that my team is being fulfilled. They're pursuing their own growth. Because a lot of that's going to transfer to here if they're not doing that for themselves. And then that's going to transfer to our clients. And I can't have that happen. Because I'm selfish like that. And as a business owner, doing tax planning every quarter. And this is where, like, one of the things that we have really pivoted and we will be sending out updates on this is it is non-negotiable any longer to not meet with us, at least on a quarterly basis. Non-negotiable. We cannot get you results if you do not meet with us. And so it's not an option. And so in each of our packages that we have, with some new technology that Val is helping us to implement, people are going to get an option where you'll have some flexibility as to when you schedule that, because I know that you may not be able to meet the same day and time every 3 months. That's fine. But we're going to be hounding you because we want to make sure that you are making progress personally, financially, and in your business. You have to meet with us. If you're in tax planning, you have to meet with us 4 times a year. If you are in the build intensive, you have to meet with us. I think we have either 6 or 8 like personal meetings in there. Depends on what package you have. You have to meet with us one-on-one every so often, because we're going to make sure that even if you don't feel like being like growing or building your business, if you brought us on to help you, we're going to make sure as much as we can that you're doing that. Because otherwise, like, the thing is, like, if your identity is not shifting into like you truly can be the CEO of your business, we're going to anchor you into that ourselves, and then you'll get it. And then we'll be able to get you into the next level where you're like truly building out an empire. And that, like, I'm so excited to be doing that with people. That's gonna be so fun. And then annually as a CEO, you're going to be updating your business plan. And this is going to be a little bit more robust than your quarterly initiatives planning. Something that I think a lot of people, like, you need to put this on your calendar, review and adjusting your pricing. And this is one of the biggest like profit problems in a business that we isolate really quickly, is that if you cannot get better pricing on your consumables or your materials from your vendors, like, it is a non-negotiable. You are already paying your team a reasonable rate based off of their experience and some other factors, and you can still not hit that profitability. We went through your expenses, and it's not that you need to cut expenses. The number one problem in businesses is that they need to make more money. And it's not always that you need to push out more volume. It could be that we can do the same level of volume, but raise our prices because we haven't done it in 2 years. And this is something that, like, every business should have this on their calendar at least annually to go through and assess their pricing for their products and their services. And then the last part of that, which is a lot of like where somebody like us comes in, is creating that financial forecast for you and being able to see, like, these are the actions we want to take. This is the impact we want to make. This is what we want our business to look like 12 months from now. What does that look like when it comes to our numbers? And then we use that forecast to reset your KPIs on your CEO dashboard so that you know, like, this is the target that we're working toward. And so it's just so simple. All this stuff you can time block for, put it right on your calendar. And if like when I started time blocking, like I can't, I could talk for another hour on just how empowering that was. But you're gonna have to use some kind of calendar that you time block on and routinely are making sure that you're holding yourself accountable and you see where your time is going. Most people don't even have any idea where their time is going. And so that's just such a huge problem there. But this is just a very high level overview of the CEO protocol. This is one of the things in the build intensive that we are going to be installing this system into your business and holding you accountable. In the build intensive, we're going to be having quarterly planning days as a group, and we're going to be taking people through the full progress platform for business planning and just all of the pieces that you really need to be cognizant of as you build out a business, because it's not just numbers. It really centers at the end of the day around people and how are we designing all of our processes, our products, our client results journey, like how are we building all of that, and making sure that we're profitable so that we can do that for more people. And then planning on the back end of that, because tax planning should be part of your business strategy. How are we doing that and making sure that we're going to have positive cash flow, exceptional profitability so that we can continue to give people these results that we desire to give them. And so I love this. I cannot wait to get this fully launched. But those are just some things. So take notes on that. And what do you need to do for your CEO protocol? There are things that you know you need to do routinely. What does that look like? And then start putting that in on your calendar and time blocking it daily, weekly, monthly. You got anything to add for that, Courtney?
I was just gonna do a quick recap, just kind of hit all those points real quick, if that's all right.
That's
So
perfect.
CEO protocol, we have it broken down between daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. So just to kind of hit all those points, kind of the specific ones we talked about. So for daily activities, we're checking our cash position. We are updating our CEO dashboard. We are reviewing daily goals and priorities and making sure that we're engaging with our team every single day. So moving on to weekly activities, we're doing now a weekly CEO dashboard review. So that's kind of more updating KPIs. We are reviewing accounts receivable. That's usually a good weekly thing. I don't know if we quite touched on that one. But team meetings, we're having weekly team meetings. Reaching out to clients each week. We talked about that. Another good example for med spas, I don't know if we touched on this one, but ordering and checking on your inventory levels, kind of working that into our weekly check-ins, and then paying bills and payroll. So we got all of those for weekly. And touching on monthly, we have our financial review. So you're looking at your financials, the balance sheet, and profit and loss and cash flow statements, reviewing and planning out social media for the next 30 days. And if you have any email campaigns, we didn't quite touch on that one, but that's another great thing to move into monthly as well. And then for quarterly, you have your business planning. So setting those intentional goals for each quarter. You're doing your tax planning. And so that's, if you're here in this coffee chat, that's most likely going to be with us. And make sure you're having those one-on-one check-ins with each of your team members, reviewing, making sure their goals within the company and then their personal goals, because their personal growth is directly tied to your business growth as well. So you're having those one-on-ones with your team and reviewing your KPIs, seeing if there's anything you need to adjust or change. And then the last thing for annual, so doing an overview financial review annually, you're reviewing prices, and then you also are doing annual team member evaluations as well. So that's just a quick breakdown of all those points we hit, added in a couple more for you as well, just to kind of bring it all together.
Take notes.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that recap. I'm glad you did that because I know I can get all over the place with that. But yeah, that was good. So otherwise, I think that'll close us out for the day, and we'll see you all on the July coffee chats.
Yay. Can't
Bye.
wait. Bye.